this episode of DDB Talks, our video series featuring the brightest minds, most interesting stories, and tales of unexpected works from around the world. Today I'm joined by Gavin Cheng, who was recently promoted from MD to CEO of DDB For The Win, our dedicated esports and gaming agency. For those of you that don't know, DDB For The Win launched in November last year and quickly expanded around the world into 15 markets and is already working with amazing clients like ESL, Wargaming, and some others that we'll be announcing in the coming weeks. So Gavin, thanks for joining me. Please tell us exactly how DDB For The Win came to be today.
It came about through the Hunters Conference, which was organized by Glenn and Melanie to explore new opportunities and new areas of business growth. And through that, Darko, the CEO of Prague, and he was the leader and the founder of For The Win, and also an avid gamer, basically immediately identified that gaming is a massive category for growth. And I don't think this is any surprise to anybody who's sort of close to it. But if you know Darko, he's an absolute force of nature. And so instead of, going back and watching Netflix, he made this happen. So together with the support of DDB Düsseldorf and DDB Paris, Alex, also Glenn and George Strakoff, we landed ESL as an anchor client, and then announced For The Win officially just a few weeks after that. So that's how it all kicked off in the beginning, and it just snowballed from there. It was one of those moments where that right time, right place, the momentum was absolutely there. And actually within a few weeks, there was sort of responses from our competitors. And so it was definitely right time, right place.
Yeah, it actually shows the power of how incredible the Hunters group was. I was a part of that group and got to see the birth of DDB For The Win and couldn't actually believe how quickly it was brought to life, which is really a testament to our network and people like Glenn jumping on a good opportunity and being able to back great opportunities quickly. It was awesome to watch. And during that time, I actually learned a lot about gaming, something that I didn't know about, and that I'm sure lots of people do, but lots of people don't. So could you explain, I guess, why it is such a big opportunity for agencies and brands right now?
We always have to be where people are gathering. And, people have gathered around billboards and ball games, and it's gone on to, social media and digital. But there is nowhere more vibrant and sort of explosive than the gaming space. And this is where people are right now. They're in the game, and if they're not playing games, they're around the game. And we see this, it's a massive cultural shift. And the demographic is no longer, it isn't what you think, it isn't what most people think, right? This is from CEOs down to teens and everywhere in between, and moms and dads and families gaming together. So also, this represents a massive proportion of the unreachables, right? And they're ad blocking, they're not watching regular television. And it's no wonder that Netflix is going into gaming because, this is the dominant form of entertainment. So it's absolutely huge opportunity. We see that where brands were trying to reconfigure and think about their digital strategy or their social strategy, we're seeing them have those same thoughts rightfully about what their gaming strategy should be.
And what type of conversations are you having? How many clients are coming to you and what are they saying? Are they saying, teach us about gaming, or are they coming with that education and saying, okay, we want to be involved. How do we do so?
Well, it's a mix. Actually, one of the largest opportunities for growth that we have in the network are actually endemic clients. So most of the clients from For The Win worldwide have been actually endemic clients, including a major peripheral manufacturer who came to us and said, look, we've talked to agencies, they don't get it. They don't get what we're doing. They don't get gaming. And finally, we've met, an organization that has the depth and the culture of brands and that history, but is also plugged into the spirit and culture of gaming. So on one side, here's a massive growth opportunity. On the other side, and this is interesting and kind of reinforces the timeliness of this. In the beginning, we had interest from brands, but in the last 4 or 5 months on a global level, it's been more and more proactive, where we have our global clients reaching out to their agencies who are reaching out to us because they're asking, what should our gaming strategy be? Because it's popping up in the news and it's been, fueled by the pandemic. And they realize that this is somewhere they need to go. So the conversations have been, we know we need to get into this. What is it? How do we do it? What are the channels? Because it can be daunting for a brand.
Definitely. And what about our current clients? Because I know we've had a few initial conversations. How are we taking DDB For The Win to our existing clients like McDonald's and Volkswagen and Johnson & Johnson?
There's a few approaches. So we have our existing clients, even if they haven't heard of For The Win, are actually asking their agencies what gaming strategy how they should be looking at gaming. And so that's one angle. There's an initiative kicked off from For The Win Germany, which is going to be a roadshow where we're actually going to be inviting current and existing clients in a sort of exclusive setting to explore how gaming is relevant to their category. So I think these are our two main areas that we're looking at, that we're seeing our clients' interest and being able to pull the client's interest in.
Yeah, I want to go on a roadshow, a gaming roadshow. What does that
Hopefully we can actually go on the road, but it might be virtual. It depends on how everyone, individual regions. But on a regional level, so there's a global and there's a regional approach. On the global approach, so we get the global clients inquiring, or we come to them when they have a need. Part of our strategy for The Win is to help educate and get this on the agenda, on the global strategies, because this filters down to all the regional instantiations and the briefs. But on a regional level, of course, we have different clients, and our agencies, our For The Win agencies, are also approaching those clients or being approached by them. It's really two-way. We're seeing it both sort of pull and push from our client base.
And what has been the interest from our network? Obviously, we've said we've opened in 15 or 16 markets around the world. How do you think that's going to grow? Do you have agencies reaching out every day? How are you?
I wouldn't say every day. There was an initial massive wave of actually inquiry. And then Marty supported this and has supported this continually, and that kicked off a second wave. And so we see it growing fairly quickly. 15, 16 markets in a few months. Most of these have launched really in the last 2 months. So the excitement is pretty intense. And I think that in terms of growth, we're going to just keep on rolling. We have 200 offices. And when it makes sense to those offices, when they can put a little effort and energy and passion behind it, and they see the opportunity, we'd love to have them in.
Yeah, 185 left to go, right? So some categories have boomed throughout COVID, delivery services, platforms like Zoom, if only, some of us invested in that a couple of years ago. Others like travel have, obviously been really negatively impacted. How has esports and gaming evolved, and is it something that's grown through the pandemic?
It's exploded. And if you look at there's always these giant numbers that get thrown around. Gaming is a $165 billion industry. It's a $180 billion industry. And, they've added in a few more metrics, but it's grown. The latest, it's up to almost 300 billion. So look, the pandemic has accelerated all the macro trends. Right. So if bricks and mortar were struggling to find new relevance, that amplified that. And of course, things like Zoom esports and gaming, massive boost. The only part of gaming that took a hit were the live events, like any live event. But there was a perfect storm here. The pandemic showed us new ways to work. It completely amplified gaming. And I think you'll see you had the Travis Scott event, which really brought the opportunity and the future potential of this into most people's minds they haven't seen. This was followed pretty quickly, if you were tracking it, by brands jumping into Animal Crossing, right? Animal Crossing became the darling of brands. I mean, Fashion Week couldn't be held, so they actually did, virtual runway shows in Animal Crossing. And so these sort of indicators got super amplified during the pandemic and just grew the awareness of the category and grew the usage of the category.
Mm. And how do you think it will grow moving forward? There's some pretty big numbers that you're throwing around. Has it reached its peak?
No, this is the dominant form of entertainment, and it goes beyond entertainment. It's culture. It's how people connect. Actually, building on the last question, one of the most interesting things that came out of this is that gaming became this social lifeline for kids and adults, because that was how they connected and got together. Our family and several other families we know kind of lifted some of the usual restrictions, because this was important for the kids to get together and actually communicate. So how is this growing? It is, esports is already taken over traditional sports as the dominant kind of sports, category that's being watched from millennials and under. And that's only growing year by year. I think within a few years, it's going to be up to 1 in 9 people on the planet are following esports. There's some good studies out of Activision that show, unsurprisingly, that the early people encounter gaming, the stronger the emotional connections are, and the more responsive they will be to messaging and activations and engagements through gaming later in life. But here's the really big piece of this. We're in the business of attention, and gaming is a massive gravity well that it's only growing year by year in terms of gaining and drawing in more of that attention. And it's not solitary. It's multi-user, it's vibrant. And what we know is gaming now is only increasing, and you're seeing there are new platforms, new channels, Twitch, the streamers. It's dovetailing with the advent and the increased importance of influencers. And if you're looking a little bit farther ahead, clearly, gaming is the lead-in to something bigger, the new third place, the persistent world, things that people call the Metaverse, and we'll shake out, and there'll be platform wars, but it's coming, and you see all the signs of it right now. So this is not something that's emerging and tiny. I mean, this is a huge market, but where it's going, what is born out of the gaming culture and technology and behaviors is going to shape how we work and how we live.
Mm. And the Metaverse, I love that. Are you seeing any brands at this point leverage the full, Metaverse multi-channel experience that is esports?
I wouldn't say that esports represents the Metaverse. I mean, the idea of the Metaverse, it was coined by Neil Stephenson in his book Snow Crash, and it's become the darling of tech people. It's the idea that there will be some sort of unified visual 3D world where we don't only come together to, let's say, play, but work and experience. And in terms of brands, taking advantage of this is emerging. So let's put that on the side. This is where we're going. but one of the ideas that we are bringing to the table is that we've spent a long time trying to figure out how to deal with marketing in this world. But with the advent of and the adoption of gaming, we have multi-worlds. And so a multi-world marketing strategy is needed for brands. And I think that this is one of the more interesting pieces of it. Now, which brands are getting into it? In terms of esports in particular, which is sort of the apex of gaming, right? Professional gaming. You know, from BMW to Mercedes, McDonald's is fully sponsoring an esports team in Prague. They just announced another sponsorship in North California. You know, obvious ones, Red Bull. There's massive amounts of interest and engagement in esports. Brands are interested in trying to enter into the game, and which ones are doing it? You know, I think they're pretty clear examples of the major brands that are taking this as sort of a 360 strategy, but it's only growing.
Multi-world marketing is a great term, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about that in the coming months. And as you know, DDB For The Win continues its expansion around our network. We were one of the first agencies to launch into the esports and gaming space. I think the first big network agency, and then since there's been, you know, quite a few different agencies and networks move into the space. What do you think it says about our network, the fact that we were, you know, one of the first to enter the space?
I think it says that we are fresh, and I think it has not only the potential, but it is electrifying the brand image of DDB, especially in the agencies that are adopting it. So the agencies that are launching and are putting out their announcements are getting, you know, wow, what is this? You guys, we thought we knew what you were all about, but this is absolutely, you know, unexpected. Probably less unexpected now that everybody's getting into the game. But what it says to the world, yeah, it's that we're fresh and that we're electric. But what it says internally, I think, is even more important, because, as I mentioned, it's Darko could have sat on this and watched Netflix. Glenn might not have supported it. It's this desire to be entrepreneurial and go for it and seize the opportunities that are ahead of us. We sort of missed the boat, right, with the whole advent of technology. The Facebooks and the Googles of this world sort of launched and grew on ad revenue, on media revenue, and we were sort of at the sidelines and, you know, taking breadcrumbs. This is an opportunity for us to move, not just in terms of what we do as a core, which is great creative, great strategy, but become a part of this next wave, which is as big as these previous shifts, and be more embedded and grow our services, our products, and the ways we are telling stories for our clients. So it's a testament to the spirit of the internal culture of the network and getting things done and working together, just as much as it is an electrification of the brand publicly.
I love that. So the $1 million question, how do we get involved? How do other agencies around the world launch DDB For The Win in their regions?
Well, you know, that's simple. Get in contact with us and we'll work it out. But you know, if there's an agency that's interested, you know, a few things, a few setups. We have 3 principles at For The Win that guide us. One is that we're stronger together. Our value is in a connected network that actually works, and we're seeing this. And this is the number one principle. Second, which is a build on that, is share and enjoy. We have MDs and CEOs from one agency sharing links, sharing inspiration, ideating with agencies from around the world, creative teams that will work with strategists, all around this common passion and goal. This kind of fluid, modern model of a network is incredibly powerful. And the third principle is do something good for gaming. We're not here to game wash. We love this category. And so in addition to making this work for brands, making this work for ourselves, we need to be true to gaming and help elevate it and bring positivity and healthy choices and lifestyles and representation to gaming as well. So I think if you're in for all of that and you're up for giving it a proper go, by all means, give us a call or get in contact, and we'll set it up.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Gavin, and congratulations on your recent promotion. Such great news.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to DDB Talks today. We'll see you next time.
We were there when unimaginable possibilities opened up to humanity. We were there alone, yet never lonely, fighting for what's right. We saw courage, friendship, creativity, and self-expression. We witnessed new heroes being born and the rise of one big nation that is ready to welcome anyone. We experienced connections that go beyond borders. We were called nerds with our heads in the clouds, but we were there for the win. We still are. So if gaming is your passion, join us at DDB For The Win. The time is now.